start with our discussion on introduction to advertising and sales promotion. Before we do any in-depth discussion on sales promotion and advertising, we must know first the basic of this concept or of this subject. Okay? So introduction, advertising is only one of the one of the elements of the promotional mix, but it often is considered a prominent in the overall marketing mix design. It's highly visible and pervasiveness made it as an important social and economic topic in the Philippines. As we all know, because everybody is locked down, right? Everybody's eyes is almost on their social media. So this is actually a good way for advertising to show their products and to promote their products and services in the social media. Later we will discuss all of it. Okay? Promotion may be defined as the coordination of all sellers initiated efforts to set up channels for information and persuasion to facilitate the scale of goods or services. Promotion is most often intended to be supported with components in the marketing mix. Okay, promotion decisions must be integrated and coordinated with the rest of the marketing mix, particularly products, brand decision, so that it may effectively support the entire marketing mix strategy. Okay? So promotion mix consists of four basic elements. So they are number one, advertising. It is the dissemination of information by non-personal means through paid media, where the source is the sponsoring organization. So through paid media, okay, it's the difference of advertising with publicity, because there is really a paid media that is being used by the organization. If you're familiar, during the pandemic, this is one of the advertising strategy that made a buzz in the social media is the RC commercial. Okay, it trended because of the weirdness and the what do you call it? We can say the weirdness of the commercial and actually the disturbing images in in that commercial. But it is actually effective because people got interested on RC Cola, right? That it caught the attention. Okay, the product caught the attention of most of the viewers in the social media. Okay? Next is we have what we call the personal selling. It is the dissemination of information by non-personal method like face-to-face contacts, contact between audience and the employees of the sponsoring organization. The source of information is also the sponsoring organization. So if you're familiar with Queen Oots, Queen Oots, yeah. So that what she's doing is actually what you call the uh, the personal selling. The difference before the personal selling is you really have to do face to face, but because of the limited, um, because of the IATF guideline that we are disallowed to actually have a face to face conversation with other people because of the pandemic. Filipinos are very what do you call it? Um, Filipinos will find a way to ensure that they can continue selling their products. And this is actually a substitute of the personal selling, right? You are using social media in selling your products as if you are selling it face to face. That's the reason why natin sinasabi na pamay na lang po. Right? What happened in this? I know you're familiar, but what happened in this scenario that almost 7,000 viewers of on how she sells her product, but nobody's buying, right? Okay. Next is what we call the sales promotion. It is the dissemination of information through a wide variety of activities or other than personal selling, advertising and publicity, which stimulate customers purchasing and dealer effectiveness. So sales promotion is the whole organization will create a marketing strategy to sell their products. I think that was in 2014, which Toyota offered a low down payment such as this. Right? For only 28,000 pesos of down payment, you can you can take home a vehicle, right? A brand new vehicle, but it is still subject to installment payment. It's just that the down payment is very low. Okay? So many people took advantage of this, especially when the Uber and Grab was introduced here in the Philippines. Many people think that oh, let's take advantage of this low down payment, and we are assured that if we enter to Grab and Uber, uh, the down payment or the installment payment will be paid off. Okay? And lastly is publicity. It is the disseminating of information by person or non-personal means and is not directly paid by the organization, and the organization is not the source. Right? Sabi nga nila, good publicity is bad publicity. Right? So sometimes because of lalo na ngayon, especially today, this season of election, right? People will try to do things or will try to have any publicity on their names. Either good or bad, it's still publicity. Okay, people will have a recall of their names. Okay, so that is the difference of advertising and publicity is advertising is directly paid by the organization, right? While the publicity is not directly paid by the organization. Okay, so if you see about if you're familiar with the trolls, yeah, so probably that is you can consider that as publicity, right? So the origins and development of advertising. Evidence suggests that the Romans practiced advertising, but the earliest indication of its use in this country is dated back in the Middle Age. Okay, when the use of the surname indicates the man's occupation. Okay, so meron tayong uh, noong unang panahon, right? Noong unang panahon, some of the people uh, uses their last names as their occupation. Whatever is their occupation, that's the last name that they're using. Example, here in the Philippines, you have a carpintero, right? Caritero, cartero, and other names in the Philippines, right? But in other countries, they are using their last name as their trade name. Okay, so there. So this is an example of one of the advertising materials that the Romans used during their time. Okay. So you can also see in ancient arts that the seller is in a primitive time relies upon the loud voice to attract attention. Actually, as of now, we are still using this, right? The if you go to the Visoria, right? We have peddlers there, we have sellers and vendors there who's shouting at the top of their voice just to call the attention of their buyers. Right? And same thing. So, hindi lang pala sa Pilipinas to, but on the ancient times, ito na talaga yung nangyayari. Okay? So, as you can see, those are. Okay. Development of retail store made the traders to be more concerned about attracting business. Okay? Informing customers of the availability of supplies was highly important. So, because nga, kailangan natin, when the retail store was developed, uh, the sellers must ensure that the supplies are always available. Okay? They have to inform their customers what are the products that they can offer to them. Okay? Some type of outside promotion were necessary. Signs on the stores and in prominent places around the cities and notices in matters were sometimes used. Okay? So now we have, in the modern times, uh, we have this retail store, one of the biggest retail stores that we have here in the Philippines. Okay? Definition of advertising. So, the word advertising originates from the Latin word advertise. Okay? Advertise. Advertise. Okay? So, which means to turn, uh, which means to turn, the definition of advertising, okay? The definition of advertising. The word advertising originates from the word advertise, okay? Which means to turn to. The dictionary means meaning of the term is to give public notice or announced publicly. Okay? Advertising may be defined as the process of buying sponsored identified media space or time to promote a product or an idea. Okay? It is also defined advertising as any form of non-personal presentation or promotion of ideas, goods, or services by an identified sponsor. Okay, so basically, that is how we define advertising. Okay? What advertising is? Advertising is a mass communicating of information intended to persuade buyers to buy the product with the view to maximizing the company's profit. Again, marketing, advertising is part of marketing, right? Marketing is to identify the demand, okay, to identify the needs of the customer or of the consumer, then provide that needs at a profit. Okay? So, laging at a profit. That's basically how we look into it. Okay? So, the elements of advertising are it is a mass communication reaching a large group of consumers. Right? Dapat it reach a large group of consumers. That is one of the requirement. Kasi kung dito ka lang sa bahay mo, right, na nag-advertise, it will not be considered advertising. Right? It must be reachable to the large number of consumers. Next is it makes mass production possible. Okay? It is non-personal communication. Non-personal. Okay? Because if it is personal, it is already professional salesmanship. It is already salesmanship. It is no longer advertising. Right? It is selling already. Okay? For it is not delivered by the action person, nor it is addressed to a specific person. So mass talaga siya, mass media talaga. Okay, mass communication. It is a commercial communication because it is used to help assure the advertiser for a long business life with profitable sales. Advertising can be economical for it reach a large group of people. This keeps the cost per message low. Because, for example, you advertise your product in a prime time, which is many people are watching uh, the television during the time, right? So, if these people, okay, these people um, will have, if these people can see your commercial in the prime time slot, right? So that is basically economical for you, right? Uh, okay. Next is the communication is speedy, permitting an advertiser to speak to millions of buyers in the matter of few hours. If you can check, right, no? Pag nanood kayo ng commercial, usually 20 seconder lang yan. 20 seconder, 15 seconder. It depends, right? But kahit 15 seconder lang yan, right? Millions of people can view that that advertisement. Right? Millions of people can view, and with that millions of people, right? Kahit sabihin natin 50% of that millions of people uh, had an attention, okay? Or nagkaroon sila ng attention dun sa commercial nyo, definitely that is economical for you already. Because these people is already aware of the product, already aware that you're selling that product, or that product is already available in the market, which the consumers who saw your commercial will uh, have the opportunity, okay, to buy that product or to look for that product in the market. Okay? Next is advertising is identified communication. Okay? The advertiser signs his name to his advertisement for the purpose of publicizing his identity. Okay? So makikita nyo doon kung sino yung nag-advertise. Pansinin nyo doon sa mga commercial sa TV, makikita nyo doon sa pinakababa kung sino yung gumawa ng advertisement. Okay? Yeah. So, what is included in advertising? So, we have to define first, ano ba yung kasama dun sa advertising? Ano ba dapat yung hindi kasama? So, sometimes people tend to mix advertising. Na paghahalo-halo na nila yung ano, basta bato lang sila ng bato. But, basically, hindi dapat sila halo-halo. Okay, ma-define natin, ma-separate natin. So, one, the information in the advertisement should benefit the buyer. So, yun ang focus lagi ng advertisement, to benefit the buyer. It should give them a more satisfactory expenditure of their money. Di ba mga pansin nyo? Let's say, si Surf. Di ba? Ang sinasabi ni Surf, di ba? Sing sulit pero di sing mahal. Right? Sing epektibo pero hindi sing mahal. Right? Because ang sinasabi ni Surf as a commercial is yung product namin is as effective as the the popular brand, but we are more cheaper, right? So yun, okay? In toothpaste, right? So toothpaste, sinasabi ng toothpaste, sabi ng Beam, di ba? Sinasabi ng Beam toothpaste that same, they are cheaper, okay, but same effect that they can whiten your teeth. Right? So, yun yung sinasabi. Okay? It should suggest better solution to their problems. Right? Dandruff? Anong sagot sa dandruff? Diba? Head and shoulders. Diba? Yan yung lagi nating narinig. Diba? May makikita ka, laki balakubak. Grabe, no? Tapos, ang sagot lang doon, head and shoulders. That's how advertising position their product. The content of the advertisement is within the control of the advertiser, not the medium. Right? Regardless kung print ad yan, regardless kung TV commercial yan or radio commercial yan, it is at the control of the advertiser. Right? So, kung paano nila lalaruin yung message, kung paano nila sasabihin yung message na ma-visualize at ma-experience nung viewers of their commercial or of their advertisement, yun yung importante. Sila yung may control kung paano. Next is, advertising without persuasion is ineffective. Pag hindi mo pinopursue, pag walang persuasion, right? Hindi advertisement yun. Hindi effective yun. It is ineffective. An advertisement that fails to influence anyone either immediately or in the future, is a waste of money. Right? Di ba? Kaya napapansin nyo, ah, walang nagsasabi na ah, crispy pata, regular. Di ba? Or walang nagsasabi ng hindi espesyal crispy pata. Right? Laging espesyal. Laging espesyal buko pie. Right? Kasi kung ordinaryo lang, it is not persuasive. Di ba? Di ba mapapansin nyo karamihan ng commercial, new and improved. Di ba? With L. Carnegie. So, laging merong new and improved dun sa product to be persuasive. Right? And lastly, the function of advertising is to increase the profitable sale volume. Okay, that is the advertising expense should not increase disproportionately. So, ibig sabihin, dapat yung budget dun sa advertising will yield a profitable sales volume for the organization. Dapat nagpuproduce siya ng volume. Kung ang iyong advertisement does not increase the volume or does not increase the sales, meaning your advertisement is ineffective. Okay? Advertising includes the following forms of messages. The message carries in the newspaper. So as you can see, right, ito yung example. No? Medyo luma na yung example ko dito kasi ito lang yung nakita ko. So, Econo pa, Bear Brand. Medyo luma na rin yung ng Bear Brand. Medyo luma na din yung dito, no? Example. But you see the point. Right? You can find it in print ads such as the newspaper and magazine. Yes, alam niyo naman yung pinagkaiba ng newspaper and magazine. Right? Radio and television broadcast. Right? So this is a commercial of Cornetto. Right? It's very effective because it's like a series. Mas serye siya sa naabot ang 20 pesos mo. And it is a series and it is funny. It attracts people, meaning that you can, instead of spending too much, mag-cornetto ka na lang sa halagang 20 pesos. Right? Next is circular of all kinds, whether distributed by mail, by person, through tradesmen, or by insert of the page. So this is an example of it. So yung may mga leaflets, right, naka-insert sa usually sa mga credit cards natin, may mga naka-insert dyan ng mga promotions and everything. Right? Labels, tag, and other literature accompanied by the merchandise. So usually ito yung mga folder, right? Or yung mga may iba pang mga products na naka-insert doon sa ating binibili about a certain products or what is the purpose of that product and so on. Window display and counter display. So materials and efforts. So makikita nyo yan. So this is an example of pen shop. Right? So may mga window display sila dyan of their products. Store signs, motion pictures used for advertising. So this is an example of a 3D billboard. So in Tokyo, Japan. So let me play this for you. Forward.
I have heard of a cool story. They have heard of a cool story.
The Godzilla of felines has been pussyfooting around Shinjuku, a bustling commercial district in the heart of Tokyo. Every few minutes, giant cat briefly pops into view, flicking his tail and gazing upon a growing band of admirers below. For them, the supersized pet is the cat's meow. With the pandemic, any way to be or it's soothing. Like most cats, this one operates on its own time with only short appearances throughout the day. This bank worker said, "That giant cat looks like it's ready to pounce. It's really powerful and cute. I loved it, but I would have liked just a few more seconds with the kitty."
Though
From
walang
its
specific
1,600
products
square foot
na nakalagay doon, but definitely the owner of that billboard will put specific product on it. And because nakikita mo yung attention ng tao, nakatutok dun sa cute na pusa, right? So pag nilagyan mo ng product yan afterwards, so magiging papasok sa subconscious ng mga tao na while naghihintay sila doon sa pusa na lumabas, right? Meron ng product na nang-i-introduce sa kanila. Okay? And that is the purpose of advertising, to have awareness dun sa tao, to the audience of your advertisement. Okay? Next is novelties bearing advertising messages and signature of the advertiser. So, another example is this, okay? I hope you can watch this. Novelties bearing advertising messages and signature of the advertiser. So, another example is this, okay? I hope you can watch this. Okay. So parang natutulog lang, di ba? So napaka-brief nung message nung Saint Peter, pero ang sinasabi ng Saint Peter, right? Pag kami ang nag-take care sa iyo, pag inalagaan ka namin pag ikay namatay, we will take care of you na parang natutulog ka lang at hindi ka patay. That's their message, right? So that's how they're expert on taking care of dead bodies, right? So ganun yung kasimple yung message nila. Tapos nakita nyo, di ba yung kulay pink na kabaong? It's rare. Wala ka makita ang pink na kabaong, pero St. Peter meron, makakapag-provide sila sa iyo. Okay? Okay. So what is excluded from advertising? So advertising is not an exact science. Okay, an advertiser's circumstances are never identical with those of another. Okay? He cannot predict with accuracy what result his future advertising efforts will produce. So sinasabi nga natin, parang paano ba magpa-viral? Right? There is no exact formula to make sure that a video will go viral. Right? It depends on it depends on the situation. It depends on the viewers. It depends on how will the viewers react. But same with advertising. Hindi mo masasabi na base dun sa commercial nung ibang product, pag ginaya mo, will have the same effect. So there is no exact science on doing advertising. Right? That's the reason why it is considered as a science and an art. Okay? So it's an appreciation. Art is an appreciation. Okay? Okay, so advertising is not a game because if advertising is done properly, both buyers and seller benefit from it. Okay? So yung pa-contest, right? It is not advertising, right? Yung pa-contest, it will not fall into advertising, right? Advertising is not a toy. Okay? Advertiser cannot afford to play with advertising. Right? Advertising funds comes from the sales revenue and must be used to increase the sales revenue. So hindi ka pwedeng gumawa ng advertising tas laruan lang, diba? Then advertisement are not designed to deceive. Okay, the desire and hope for repeat sales the desire to and hope for repeat sales ensures a high degree of honesty and honesty in advertising. So in advertising, you have to be honest. Okay? Hindi ka pwedeng mag-misinform ng consumer because the goal of advertising is repeat order. The goal of advertising is patronization, that the consumer will patronize your products and services. So yun yung isa sa pinaka-importanting bagay doon. Okay? Next. The activities excluded from advertising are the offer of premium to stimulate the sales product. So, with discount, yan. Hindi kasama yan sa advertising. Na pag bumili ka nito, may Buy one, take one. No, that should not be part of advertising. Next, the use of exhibition demonstration at fair shows and convention. So it is not part of advertising. Right? Yung sasali ka sa mga fair, right? It is not considered as advertising. The use of samples and activities involving news release and the activities of personal selling efforts. So again, yung sampling, yung may personal kang nagbibigay ka ng it's not considered advertising. The payment of advertising allowance which are not used for advertising, right? So hindi din yan pasok. And the entertainment of customers. Yan. So akala nung iba porket sumasayaw-sayaw ka or nagti-TikTok ka, then pinapakita mo, then may product ka na, it's already advertising. No, it's not. Okay? So advertising objectives. So each advertisement is a specific communication that must be effective. Okay? Not just for one customer, but for many target buyers. So hindi lang ang focus nito isang customer lang. Okay? Ang focus nito is as many target buyers as possible. Okay? This means that specific objectives should be set for each advertisement campaign. So advertising is a form of promotion, and like promotion, the objective of advertising should be specific. Okay? Hindi pwedeng bato lang ng bato ng kung ano-ano. Right? Kailangan specific yung goal mo. What is your goal? Right? For example, Jollibee, hindi siya pwedeng magsabi na, bilhin nyo lahat ng products namin. No, kailangan may specific goal siya. As you can see, some of the advertisement of Jollibee is focusing on Yum Burger. Hindi nila sinasabi yung buong product nila. Hindi sila nag-advertisement ng buong portfolio ng mga produkto nila. Specific yung kanilang pagkaka-promote and pagkaka-advertise ng Yum Burger. Same with spaghetti, right? You see different products, different advertising campaign. Right? This requires that the target consumer should be specifically identified, and that the effect of which advertising is intended to have upon the consumer should be clearly indicated. Okay, as you can see, di ba? Pag Yum Burger, nakikita nyo parang medyo mga teenager ang target market nito. Diba? Pag tinignan niyo yung Yum Burger commercial ng Jollibee, parang medyo teenagers, right? Pag Chicken Joy, mga medyo young adults, right? Mga young adults, right? Pag spaghetti, syempre mga bata yung target market nila. Diba? So makikita niyo yung diferensya, right? Okay. So moving on. The basic objective of advertising programs may be listed as below. So, number 1, to stimulate sales amongst present, former, and future consumers. Okay? It involves a decision regarding the media. Okay? TV rather than print. So, makikita nyo, if you're familiar with the I Love You Sabado theme ng Jollibee, right? Naka-focus yun sa mga bata, right? But more than that, nakita niyo rin na yung Jollibee, naglabas din sila ng campaign, ng commercials, ng advertisement na pertaining dun sa mga young adults, right? So makikita nyo, hiwa-hiwalay yung kanilang marketing scheme. And medyo may continuity. Right? May tuloy-tuloy. Bata, middle age, then mga magulang. Yun yung mga target. Diba? So there. Next is to communicate with consumers. Okay? This involves decision regarding copying. Regarding copying. Okay. Next is to communicate with consumers. Okay? So, isa sa pinaka-importanting part that the commercial or the advertisement should communicate. Okay, nakakapag-communicate siya dun sa consumers niya. Right? Nakaka-relate yung consumers doon sa, yung mga viewers ng commercial doon sa product. Right? So, yeah, later we will have examples of that. Okay. Number 3, to retain the loyalty of present and former consumers. Advertising may be used to reassure buyers that they have made the best purchase, thus building loyalty to the brand name of the firm. Okay. So another example nga, sabi natin, going back with Jollibee. Diba? So makikita mo yung commercial nila, nung nagkaroon ng issue regarding dun sa tuwalya, sa crispy tuwalya, right? Na binili daw sa may BGC area. Diba? Ang reaction ng tao, instead na magalit kay Jollibee, ang reaction ng tao, sinuportahan pa si Jollibee. Right? We are one with Jollibee na hindi kami naniniwala na totoo yung tuwalya na yan, yung tuwalya, crispy tuwalya na yan. Right? So, ganun na protektahan ni Jollibee yung kanyang mga consumer. Ganun na reassure ni Jollibee dun sa mga consumer niya na hindi namin pwedeng gawin yan. Hindi pwedeng mangyari sa amin yan. That's the reason why, right, people reacted in support of Jollibee because of that incident. Because naggawa ni Jollibee na ma-establish yung loyalty ng tao sa produkto nila. Okay? Next, to increase support, advertising implies bolster the moral of the sales force and of the distributor, wholesalers, and retailers. It does contribute to the enthusiastic. Uh, it does contribute to the enthusiast and confidence attitude of the organization. So basically, because of commercials that is used or advertisement that is being used by the company, right, or by the organization, it boosts the morale of the salespeople. It boosts the morale of the employees, right? A good example of that is when PAL declared bankruptcy, right? They announced their strategies, they announced their plans. All of the workforce of PAL was there, from the pilot to the ground crew to the flight stewardess, right? So it boosts the morale of the employees, it boosts the morale of the organization that we will stand up again. We will assure you that PAL will not die. We will assure you that the Philippine Airlines will continue to be the flag carrier of the Philippines. Right? That's how they position the advertisement. Okay? To project an image, advertising is used to promote an overall image of respect and trust of the organization. This message is aimed not only at the consumers, but also at the government, shareholders, and the general public. Right? So kagaya nga natin ng example kanina, yung PAL. Right? Alam natin, nalugi na yung PAL. They declared bankruptcy. But what happened? PALS released a message or release a promotion or release an advertisement saying that yes, we did file bankruptcy, but we assure the government, we assure the passengers, we assure the Filipino people that we will stand up again in this trial, right? And again, same with what happened with Jollibee, right? Because of that crispy tuwalya, they assure, right, that it never happened to them, that they are investigating it, taking it very seriously. Okay? Next. Okay, so the importance of advertising. Okay. So the importance of advertising. So generally, advertising is a relatively low-cost method of conveying selling messages to a numerous prospective consumers. Okay? It can secure leads for salesmen and middlemen by convincing readers to request more information and by identifying outlets handling the product. Okay. So, pag tinignan mo, sabi nila, bakit low cost? Ang mahal-mahal magbayad ng commercial. Right? TV commercial, ang mahal-mahal ng TV commercial. But basically, it is still low cost. Because compared to the number of viewers that will see your commercial or that will see your advertisement, right? It is already low cost. Mas maraming tao ang nakakakita ng produkto nyo. If you put it in media, right? If you put it in a commercial or if you put it in a billboard, right? Many people can see or many people can view your products and services. Okay? So, advertising has become increasingly important to a business enterprise. Both large and small outlaid on the advertising certainly is a voucher. Okay, non-business enterprise have also recognized the importance of advertising. Right, the attempt by Army recruit is based upon the substantial advertising campaign. So the advertising is not limited to business entities, to business enterprise. Okay? Other non-organizational activities or other non-governmental organization are using advertisement, okay, to have more recruits. Even the government using advertisement to increase their credibility, to increase the trust of other people or of the people to them, right? So there. Advertising strategies that increase the number of units sold stimulate economies in the production process. The production cost per unit of output is lowered. In turn, leads to a lower prices. Okay, so sabi nga natin, pag the law of supply and demand, if there is more demand, the price goes down. So, nakakatulong din yan. So, if maraming gustong bumili ng produkto, right, the price goes down. So, advertising really helps the economy. Advertising has become an important factor in the campaigns to achieve such societal-oriented objectives, such as the discontinuance of smoking, family planning, physical fitness, and the elimination of drug abuse. Advertising helps to increase mass marketing while helping the consumer to choose from amongst the variety of products offered for his selection. So mapansin nyo, if you look into the internet or in YouTube, you will see they're advertising about uh, stop smoking, don't drink and drive, right? Don't do drugs, right? Physical fitness, right? So makikita niya marami na yung produkto na yan. Okay? One of the government-sponsored advertising is to stop drugs. Yung parang mga tinatanong yung mga celebrity artist na nakapag-drugs ka na ba? So parang sagot nila hindi nila susubukan. Tapos pagdating sa dulo, nandun yung si President Duterte, sinasabi na huwag kang gumamit ng drugs, mamamatay ka. Right? So that is a very powerful message in against drug abuse. Okay? Next. Classification and types of advertising. So, related advertising. So, pioneer advertising. So, this type of advertising is used in the introductory stage in the life cycle of the product. So, Usually, organization will release an advertisement if they are introducing something to the market. An example of that is, I think that was in 2000 uh, if I'm correct, 2013, during the Pacquiao fight, right? During the Manny Pacquiao fight, nilabas ng KFC yung double down commercial. So, all Filipinos na nakapanood ng double down, manok, bacon, cheese, bacon, manok ulit, di ba? Tapos, kinakain ng tao na nagmamantika-mantika pa, right? The next day after the Manny Pacquiao fight, okay? Ang haba ng pila sa KFC because everybody wants to taste the double down. Ano ba yung double down na yan? Ano bang lasa niyan? Right? Napakamahal nung pagkain na yun, but still, right? But still umorder ako noon. Siguro I think every day for the next 2 weeks. For the past 2 weeks after nung commercial na yun, puro double down lang yung kinakain ko. Right? Ganun yung influence sa akin. That is what you call the pioneering advertisement. Okay? New product in the market. Next is the competitive advertising. So it is useful when the products has reached the market growth and especially the market maturity stage. It stimulates the selective demand. It seeks to sell a specific brand rather than general product category. So competitive yung advertising nito. So sabi nga natin yung Surf, right? Direct competitor niya si Brand X, si Tide, si Brand X. The problem here with the Philippines is we are not used to, okay? We're not used to have a cutthroat competition or cutthroat competitiveness. Laging ang kalaban natin si Brand X, right? Pero alam naman natin kung sino yung pinatatamaan nila. Laging subtle lang. Right? Sino ba yung laging pinapatamaan ni Surf na sing effective pero hindi sing mahal? Right? So, sino ba yung madalas na pinatatamaan ni Beam na nagpapaputi din ng ngipin pero hindi sing mahal? Right? So, those are what you call the competitive advertising. Then, you have the direct type. It seeks to stimulate immediate buying action, right? So, bili na kayo ngayon, right? Ganun yung convey ng message. Buy it now. Right? Next is the attempt to pinpoint the virtue of the product in the expectation that the consumer's action will be affected by it when he is ready to buy. So, meron namang mga commercial na pag ready ka na. Right? Pag ready ka nang bumili. Right? Then we have what we call the retentive advertising. This may be useful when the product has achieved the favorable status in the market. Right? That is maturity or decline. Generally, in such time, the advertiser wants to keep his product name before the public. So, a much softer selling approach is used, or only the name may be mentioned in the reminder type of advertising. So, sabi nga natin, usually ito yung mga Jollibee na, alam naman natin na may Jollibee, alam naman natin na may spaghetti sila, alam naman natin na may burger steak sila, pero may soft sell pa rin sila. Naglalabas pa rin sila ng commercial about that product. So to ensure that hindi mawala to sa mga isipan ng mga tao. Right? Okay. So here's an example. I think you already know this, but let's play this.
Daddy, bike tayo.
Anak, hindi pwede si Daddy, may work.
Kuya, bike tayo.
Sorry, may glasses ako eh.
Ate, bike tayo. Pasok ako eh.
Busy pa silang lahat eh. Okay lang. Sabado na naman bukas.
Sabado na bukas? Yay! Isang tulog na lang ang hinihintay buong linggo. Papalapit-lapit, di na makapikit dahil nandyan na ang araw na ako'y Sabado na! Mabubusog sa saya. Ang ligaya ay walang sawa. Sasakay ng bisikleta kasamang ating kuya. Yayayain si mama at papa. Mag-enjoy ng chicken joy. I love you, Sabado. Pati na rin linggo. Hintay ka lang dyan, lupi na dyan ako. Sabado ang araw ko. Masusunod ang puso ko. Masayang buong pamilya. At home sa Jollibee. Sana araw-araw ay ganito. Sana buong linggo ay sing-saya ng Sabado. I love you, Sabado! I love you, Sabado. Pati na rin linggo. Hintay ka lang, Jollibee na dyan ako. Sabado ang araw ko. Masusunod ang puso ko. Masayang buong pamilya. At home sa Jollibee. I love you, Jollibee.
Pag Sabado Jollibee, right? Yun yung Retentive. Napaka-effective nitong marketing strategy nito, napaka-effective nitong advertisement na to pagdating sa mga bata. Right? Na ini-expect talaga nila pagdating ng Sabado, kailangan magja-Jollibee kami. Right? Kami nung panahon namin, when I was young, isa sa ine-expect namin is after magsimba, magja-Jollibee kami. Right? So there. So next is public service advertising. So this directed to the social welfare of the community or nation. The effectiveness of a product service advertisement may be measured in the term of the goodwill they generate in favor of the sponsoring organization. So advertisement on not mixing drinks and driving are a good example of a public advertisement or public service advertisement. Okay, so let's watch this, and this would be a very effective public service advertising.
Welcome home, buddy.
You and me, we were made for love. A lifetime is not long enough to show you what you mean to me. Ooh, I'll be waiting here for you when you come home to me.
I'll see you later, buddy. Hey, I'm sorry. I decided I shouldn't drive home last night. I stayed at Dave's.
Ooh, when you come home
I'm back.
to me.
Yeah, I'm back.
The message of that advertising says, do not mix drinking and driving because somebody's waiting for you, right? Usually, di ba sa atin yung napaka normal lang na may naghihintay sa yung pamilya. But this time, sabi nga nila, someone is waiting for you and the waiting never ends. Right? For them, because they do not understand the concept of death. Right? So if you drink and drive, there's a possibility that you will die. And for someone, especially dogs don't have the idea of what is death. So maghihintay lang sila habang buhay nila. So this commercial is very touching, especially to dog lovers. To dog lovers, example like me, I'm a dog lover. So makapagdamdamin. Yan. So Oo nga, no? Hindi ko nagagawin yun kasi yung aso ko. Di ba yung aso ko maghihintay yan habang buhay. Right? Hindi siya magkakaroon ng konsepto ng acceptance na wala na ako. Right? So kawawa naman yung aso ko. Right? So nakaka-teary-eyed yan din yung klase ng mga commercial. Okay? But it's from Budweiser. Budweiser is a beer company. Right? So there nakita niyo, di ba? Kahit beer company kami, di ba? Ini-encourage namin kayo na do not drink and drive. Right? Huwag niyong paghahaluin. Okay? Next, functional classification. So, functional classification, so advertising may be classified according to the function which it is intended to fulfill. So, number one, advertising may be used to stimulate either the primary demand and the selective demand. Letter B, it may promote either brand or the firm selling the brand. And C, it may try to cause indirect action or direct action. So basically, that is the functional of that classification. Okay? Next, we have the advertising based on the demand influence level. So primary demand, okay, demand is the demand for the products or services rather than the particular brand. Specific products and services, right? So, it intends to affect the demand for a type of product, okay, and not the brand of the product. So, an example of that is this. This is a new type of product that is new to the market, right? This is a new type of product that is new to the market, right?
ICOS presents the science of heating versus burning. This is a cigarette. And this is the new ICOS with heat control technology. When you light a cigarette, you set your tobacco on fire and the tobacco burns, reaching temperatures of around 600 degrees Celsius, generating smoke and ash. When you puff on your cigarette, the temperature of your tobacco rises to over 800 degrees Celsius at the tip. The smoke produced and inhaled contains harmful and potentially harmful chemicals. ICOS heats your tobacco to temperatures below 350 degrees Celsius. By heating tobacco rather than burning it, ICOS creates tobacco vapor, not smoke. This is one of the advantages of heating versus burning. However, ICOS contains nicotine, which is an addictive substance, and this product is not risk-free. The best way to reduce tobacco-related health risks is to quit tobacco use altogether.
Okay, so as you can see, diba, this is a new product. So ini-introduce nila yung new products doon sa ating... Okay, so as you can see, diba, this is a new product. So ini-introduce nila yung new products doon sa ating market. Right? And what is the ICOS? Ito nga yung mga bago. This is not vape. Right? This is basically still tobacco. But instead of burning the tobacco, you're just heating it. And so that the vapor, yun yung sinasabi nila. Right? Next is selective demand stimulation. So this demand is for the particular brand such as Marlboro Ice, Ice Blast, if you're a smoker, or Red Horse Beer, to establish a differential advantage and to acquire an acceptable sort of market, selective demand advertising is attempted. Okay, so this is an example of separating, because as we all know, Red Horse is created by San Miguel Corporation, but San Miguel Corporation released this product to ensure or to release this advertising to separate.
Dear pare, long time no see. At ngayon nagpakita ka, may aaminin ako sa'yo. Nung brinekan ka ng mga naging jowa mo, ni Tanya na magpo-focus sa studies, ni Leia na may maturity issue sa'yo, ni Ann na hahanapin ang sarili, at ngayon ni Jella na may third party. Deep inside, nagsiselebrate ako. Ay, hindi lang pala ako. Pati na rin sila. Ang buong tropa. enroll na naman sa inuman. Free lagi sa tropa. Magpaparedors pa. Kaya yung break up, busted, kung ano mang heartaches, mas malakas ka dyan. Nandito ang mga repa, naghihintay sa iyong pagbabalik. Dala ka na rin ng Red Horse.
Okay, so nakita niyo kung paano nila i-market yung Red Horse, na? Pare-pare, tropa-tropa to, mga tigasin. Right? Compared dun sa same with sa San Miguel Beer, ang San Miguel Beer Light, San Mig Light is more into pang mahaba ang inuman. Parang ito, pang basagan talaga, no? Pang tropa pag may problema, right? So that's how they differentiate their products. Same, San Miguel Beer din ang may-ari, San Miguel Corporation din ang may-ari nung products na yun, but they clearly differentiated the difference of San Mig Light and Red Horse, right? So next is the institutional advertising. So institutional advertising may be formative, persuasive, or reminder-oriented in character. Okay, institution advertising is used extremely during periods of product shortage to keep the name of the company before the public. Yan, a good example is how
Mabuhay!
Homecomings. Fresh starts. Goodbyes. Over the last 75 years, the unique warmth of our people has touched millions of lives.
The heart of the Filipinos shining through. Philippine Airlines shining through.
okay.
Mabuhay!
So there. Okay, so Retentive Division or the whole organization of Philippine Airlines. Okay? Next is product advertising. Most advertising is product advertising. So designed to promote the sale or reputation of a particular product or service that the organization sells. Okay, the marketer may use such promotion to generate exposure, attention, okay, comprehension, and attitude change or action from the offering. Okay, to deal with the non-personal selling or of a particular goods or services. Okay, it's of three types of the following. So the informative product advertising, this form of advertising tends to characterize the promotion of any new type of product to develop and initiate demand. It is usually done in the introductory stage of the life cycle, of product life cycle. It was the original approach to the advertising. Okay? So informative, usually ito yung mga paumpisa pa lang ng mga produkto. Kaya sabi ko, an example is when Double Down was introduced by KFC. Next is the persuasive product. Persuasive product advertising is to develop demands for the product, for a particular product or brand. It is a type of promotion used in growth period and to some extent in the maturity period of the product life cycle. So persuasive, ito naman yung mga existing na yung mga product, it's just that we do the retentive products na lang. So, and to retain the product recall doon sa mga produkto nung ating advertiser. Okay? And next is the reminder-oriented product advertising. Okay, the goal of this type of advertising is to reinforce previous promotional activity by keeping the brand name in front of the public. It is used in maturity period as well as the throughout the decline phase of a product life cycle. So a good example of this is the Aloha Burger of Jollibee. It's seasonal, right? Because there are season that it really declines. And if it really declines, tinatapos kagad ni Jollibee yung yung product na yon. Then afterwards, i-reintroduce na naman nila sa market. So ibig sabihin, yung demand nagkakaroon ulit ng demand. So natatakam yung tao, then after mawala sa market, pag ni-reintroduce nila sa market, gano'n na naman, tataas na naman yung demand dun sa produkto na yan. Right? So that is a reminder-oriented product advertising. Advertising based on product life cycle. So we have the consumer advertising. So most of the consumer goods producers engage in consumer product advertising. So marketers of pharmaceuticals, cosmetic, scooter, detergent, soap, cigarette, alcohol, beverage. So ito mga consumer advertising to. So mostly lahat na nakikita natin sa television, nakikita natin sa social media and so on. These are consumer advertising because they're targeting the consumer. While the industrial advertising, industrial executives have little confidence in advertising. They rely on the formal promotion merely out of fear that their competitors may have benefit if they stop their advertising effort. So ito naman, hindi mo to masyado makikita sa mga multimedia or sa mga social media or sa mga TVs, radio station and so on because their target is specifically a specific industry. Yung industriya talaga, yung businesses talaga ang target nila, not just a consumer, right? And the objective varies according to the firm and the situation. Okay, they are to inform, to bring in orders, to induce inquiry, to get the advertiser's name on the buyer's list of sources, right? To provide support from the salesman, to reduce selling cost. Yan. So makikita nyo talagang ang focus nito is mga mga industries and businesses to help get item in the new column of the publication, to establish recognition of the firm and its product, to motivate distributors, recognize the firm of its products, and to motivate the distributors to create or change a company's image. So there. Next is you have what we call the trade advertising. So retail advertising, this may be defined as covering all advertising by the store at selling goods directly to the consuming public. It includes also advertising by establishments that sell services to the public such as beauty shop, petroleum pumps or petroleum station, and banks. So yun yung retail advertising. Then, wholesale advertising, wholesalers are generally not advertising minded either for themselves or for their suppliers. They would benefit from the adopting of some of the image making techniques used by retailers. So usually hindi masyadong ma-advertise to, but if you see advertising, example, yung mga wholesalers natin such as SNR, yan, Wilcon, yan, hindi sila masyadong nag-a-advertise kasi nga wholesale yung kanilang pinopromote, yung kanilang focus. Okay? Then, advertising based on area of operation. So we have local national advertising. So usually ito yung for sa buong Pilipinas. Next is we have local, so dun na sa locality nyo, right? Then lastly is the regional. So alam naman natin yung regional, so region 1, 2, 3, and so forth. Right? Or usually Tagalog, Ilocano, right? Because of the language used, right? Dun din nagkakaroon ng regional advertising. And advertising according to the medium used, as the most common classification of advertising is by the medium used, so such as TV, radio, magazine, outdoors, business periodicals, newspaper, and direct mail advertising. Usually, yung direct mail hindi naman masyadong nagagamit dito sa Pilipinas. But yung mga inserts, yan, ayan, mga direct mail yan. Right? Na mail inserts. Yan. This classification is so common in use that is mentioned here only for the sake of completeness. Okay? So with that, that ends the introduction of our marketing strategy or of our um, introduction to advertising and sales promotion. So just log into this website if you can see this. Okay, if you have, if you want to look into it, so just you can review it. And dyan lang naman yan, everything was discussed in according to this website. Okay, and I will also upload this video to this page so you will also have a resource of it. Okay, so with that, and I will be ending this discussion. Okay, thank you and like and subscribe. Bye.